Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Farah, and today's video is going to be a reading vlog of my journey reading Clarissa, or The History of a Young Lady by Samuel Richardson. This was a book that I started as part of the greatest 100 books of all time list that I wanted to try to do, and this was book number 100. So I'm working my way up to book number 1, but I had to get through this behemoth first. Here is what the book looks like. It's very big. I have finished it, so in a minute you're going to go back in time 3.5 years ago to the summer of 2021 where I started this book, and I just share my thoughts reading this. This vlog is pretty much going to be spoiler free, and I will have a little bit of spoiler stuff at the end just to kind of conclude my wrap up. But without further ado, let's get started, and I will see you at the end. Hey guys, I'm just about to get started with Clarissa, this big behemoth. Right now it is July 15th. It's a beautiful evening. I'm just killing some time before I have to go pick up my daughter at summer camp, and I'm gonna get started and just vlog a little bit as I go. It's probably gonna take me a really long time to read this, but I'm hoping I can blog a little bit and just share my thoughts as I go. All right, well, we just went through the list of characters, which I appreciate them doing. And a lot of these characters sound like total a-holes, to be honest. Like the first half, all of the male characters, they sound so awful. Rough, opinionated jerks. I do love this one description. Where is it? John Harlow, Esquire, elder brother of James, an unmarried gentleman, good-natured and humane, but easily carried away by more boisterous spirits. That's I like that. Yeah, but most of these Harlow people sound horrible. And again, going into this book, I don't really know what it's about yet, so it'll be interesting. I do love how they use the word gentlewoman. I think that's so funny. But of course, you know, for the time. I do love the descriptions and the language already. I already had to look up 2 words, so we're on our way to improving our vocabulary. So I'll check back in. Okay, so I read the first letter, which was from Clarissa's friend Anne to her, and it starts out with an inkling of a bit of a scandal, a little bit of a tiff between 2 different families, Mr. Lovelace and the Harlows, which resulted in a sword fight. So here we go. So that was interesting. The friend seems really nice. She really cares for her friend, but she's really nosy. So we're gonna keep going. The next letter is from Clarissa back to Anne. So I'm gonna pause here and go pick up my daughter and then be back. Okay, so reading the second letter from Clarissa to Anne, the second letter in the book, not the second letter from Clarissa, we do find a little more information. We learn about this Mr. Lovelace character and how he was kind of persuaded to court Clarissa's older sister, Arabella. So that being said, I do like the character of Clarissa so far. She seems like she's very observant and she's taking it all in, and I really like the style of letters and telling a story, and I think it's interesting so far. So yeah, I'm not that far into it, but I already like it. Hey everyone, just checking in on my Clarissa reading, about at page 160, and I just wanted to run through a little bit of the plot and some of my thoughts going on in this book. I am babysitting my little tiny niece over here, so if you hear some baby noises, that's why. So I guess I'll just run through a quick synopsis of what's going on in the book so far. So the story focuses on this woman named Clarissa. I'm not really sure how old she is, but I think she's 20 or younger. She's young. And then she's the youngest of 3 siblings. She has an older brother named James Jr. and an older sister named Arabella. So the story starts out with a letter from her best friend Anna, who is kind of up in arms and in a tizzy and wants to know what's going on. I guess there's been rumors going on about all this drama that's been happening in her family, so she's asking for the first account details. So Clarissa writes back and kind of starts from the beginning and basically tells her that her sister was matched up with this man named Robert Lovelace, who apparently is very handsome. He's very charismatic, charming, you know, every woman's dream, supposedly. And her sister's really excited to have him as a husband prospect. So when Roger Lovelace comes to visit, bless you, when he comes to visit, he pretty much ignores Arabella, the older sister. Clarissa isn't home for the first few visits, so she is just hearing this from account of her family and her sister. And Arabella at first kind of says, oh, he's just being shy, you know, no big deal. But then after a few visits of him ignoring her and kind of sucking up to the family instead, she gets really upset and she doesn't really know how to act. So this frustration turns to anger, and her pride takes over, and she's like, I don't want this guy anywhere near me. Like, he's a jerk. I'm not being treated the way I should be. So she kind of dismisses him off. She calls off the whole courtship. And then Robert Lovelace kind of is being manipulative, and he makes a big deal out of, you know, feeling so bad that things didn't work out. And, you know, he goes on, and he wishes that their family can be friends and blah, blah, blah. So he, you know, did this on purpose to get her mad for her to call it off because he really wasn't interested in her. In one of the subsequent visits that Robert Lovelace has with his family, he happens to come upon Clarissa, who's home at the time. And all of a sudden, things are different. He, you know, starts to really like Clarissa and gives her a ton of affection and attention. Clarissa, on the other hand, is like, I don't like him either. I think he's conceited. I think he's a jerk. Like, yeah, he's handsome, but he's not for me. So then the older brother, James, who's been absent this whole time, comes back from Scotland, and they realize that James knows this guy. They went to college together, and they're like mortal enemies. Not clear exactly why, but we do find out later that Robert Lovelace is very smart. He's a very good writer, and he got all this attention in college from everyone, and I think James is just really jealous, and he doesn't want anyone in the family near Robert Lovelace. He forbids anyone to be in a relationship with him, and, you know, turns the whole family against this Robert Lovelace guy. So Clarissa, although she can't really stand Robert Lovelace, she doesn't really agree that this treatment is warranted. So the uncle sets up Robert Lovelace and Clarissa to write back and forth regarding advice about traveling, which they were going to give to a nephew, I believe. I'm lost at that part. I read it a while ago. So in these letters, Robert Lovelace continues to proclaim his affection for Clarissa, his desire for her, even though she really doesn't give him much back. She's very indifferent. She's not mean, but she's not encouraging. But the family thinks that they are secretly corresponding and they're plotting to get married behind their backs, and they're all upset about it. So Clarissa goes to stay with her friend Anna for about a month, just as a sort of vacation to get her out of the house, to get her away. Then she's called back, and when she gets home, the family is sitting around intervention style, basically saying, listen, we don't want you talking to Robert Lovelace anymore. We forbade it. He's a disgrace. He's immoral. He's a womanizer. We don't want him anywhere near you. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're forbidden to speak with him anymore. And they also say, we want you to marry this guy, Mr. Solmes. So Clarissa is totally caught off guard. She can't believe what she's hearing. She does not like this Mr. Solmes guy at all. She, at first we don't really know why. She just says he's vile, he's disgusting, he's stupid, he doesn't know anything, he's impolite, all this stuff. So she wants nothing to do with him. But the family is really persistent, and they're like, you don't have a choice. You have to marry him. It's your duty. Sorry, someone's really chatty over there. So she's absolutely distraught. She tries pleading with her parents, especially her mom, who she's really close with. The mom kind of understands, but won't go against the father's will. So the father and the brother, James and James Jr., are just horrible to her. And they say, you're not fulfilling your duty. You need to marry him. This is our will. This is the whole family is up at stake for this. This partnership has been very carefully arranged. And Clarissa, she's like, why me? I'm the youngest. Why don't you match him up with Arabella? Mr. Solmes doesn't want Arabella. So what I gather from Clarissa at this point is that she's very beautiful. She's very kind and sweet. She has a great personality. She just attracts people very easily. And, you know, she's a very worthy person that men are seeking. And she's kind of turned down a bunch of suitors in the past. Now they think she's having this thing with Robert Lovelace on the side, so they want to get her married and out of the way. So Clarissa writes through a series of letters to both her parents. They squash down any hopes of resolving this. They forbid her to leave her room. They fire her servant Hannah, who has been helping her correspond with her best friend this whole time. They don't let her go to church. They don't let her leave the house until she agrees to marry this Robert Lovelace.
So cute.
Hey everyone, just checking in. It has been a long time since I've vlogged about Clarissa, but I've been picking it back up and trying to get into it to see if I can finish it this year. So I am at about the halfway point. I am at letter 215, sorry. And it's just crazy. I mean, the amount of lying and deception and manipulating that Robert Lovelace has done to this poor woman. I mean, she's just in a spot where she cannot do anything. She's been cast out by her family, and it just makes me so sad just to think that your family can just throw you away like that just because you wouldn't agree to marry the person they wanted you to marry. I mean, I guess that was how it kind of was back in the time, back in England during this time period where these arranged marriages were so important to families and family status that you put aside your own happiness in order to rise above and do your familiar duty. But Lovelace, he just keeps plotting and tricking her and creating these schemes and trying to psychologically break her down. And it's not, you know, if you read some psychological thrillers nowadays, it's not like, you know, really uncomfortable to read like some of the other stuff, but you just see him like chipping away at her resolve. So right now in this story, basically Clarissa realizes that her family, it's really just not going to happen. Her family's not going to take her back. So now the best thing she can try to do is to marry Lovelace so that she can help her reputation a little bit more and not just be known as this woman that ran away with this, you know, vile rake type of guy. Lovelace, the amount of time he spends talking about how amazing she is and beautiful and cherished and angelic, he just will not commit to setting a marriage date with her. And he just has so much of his own psychological damage when it comes to women and his respect for women that his mind can't even go there. So he has found a way to sneak in and read all of her letters back to Anna, her friend. So he's aware of any plotting being done by their point. Another interesting point, and I think which is a huge theme within this book, is the idea of Clarissa's virtue and how she is like just incapable of her own type of scheming. She has such a high moral compass that she can't help herself. She can't just sort of fake and go along and show affection to Robert Lovelace, which maybe if she did, he would become a better person to her. But she's so morally just that she can't even allow herself to do that. She's so full of virtue, and I know that's a really strong character point within her, and ultimately not contribute to ruining her, but it's not helping her at all. And Robert Lovelace, he's just such a psychopath. I mean, you can tell it's like his mission to destroy her, even though he keeps saying how much he loves her, but he ultimately just wants to ruin her, partly for his own revenge towards his overall hatred of women, as well as his own revenge and hatred towards her family. So yeah, it is a really interesting story, and it just really is taking you minute by minute through this whole ordeal. I mean, I think where we started the book, we were at, let me just see, because each letter, some of the letters have a date. So we're into May now, and I think the book originally started maybe back in February of the same year. So we're going really literally like day by day into what's happening. So really interesting. I'm going to try to get a few more letters done today, and I will check in soon. All right, guys, just checking in to Clarissa. Real time, it is now February 7th, 2024. Oh my gosh, I think I started this vlog in 2021, so we'll see. So right now I am a little over halfway through Clarissa. I'm on page 820 on letter 243. Oh my gosh, guys, this book is, it's so good. It is so extremely detailed though. We are getting every thought that comes across Robert Lovelace's mind as he continues to pursue and torment and manipulate and gaslight Clarissa. So I'm struggling with how many spoilers to give, because in all reality, I don't know how many people have ever read this, and I don't know how many people are actually going to read it. But I will say that Richardson does such a great job in, he's done such a good job in creating this scheme to give Robert Lovelace, to give Lovelace the means to continue to hold Clarissa in his grip. So we've reached a point where there's been quite a bit more action than there has been in the beginning parts of the book. Clarissa has sort of used her own methods of intelligence to get out of a situation she was in, and he is right on top of it though. He continues to almost like, I'm just shocked at his quick thinking and how he can form these manipulative schemes on the fly like he's doing, and how he can lure these people in with his charm to go along with him. People that don't know what's going on, he's convincing them through his superb lying talent and his superb acting, and manipulating people that do know what they're doing into thinking it's okay. And seeing the reaction of the people when they meet Clarissa and they have to carry out the scheme for him, and seeing their own sort of mental struggle with seeing what a beautiful, virtuous person she is, and how innocent she is, and how they can morally be going along with the scheme. So I am enthralled with this book. Like it's so good. It's such a slow burn, but it is just tormenting me, because you just want things to work out for her. And, ultimately it's a tragic story, so I'm guessing they don't work out for her. But I'm just so impressed with the strength of her character. She's very young. She's only 18. And it really is harrowing to think about how little control women had of this age in this time frame, and how reliant they were on the male figures in their life to help navigate them through the world and to give them a sense of safety. I mean, she can try to leave, but there's nowhere for her to go, and he's just intercepting all these letters between her and her friend Anna, and she's almost getting the whole truth, but he has this way where he can intercept and manipulate the letters to let her see what he wants her to see. And it just keeps happening. And you just, it's been years of me reading about her and just being in this torture with her. So yeah, I can't get over this. I mean, he is a great villain. He keeps flipping back and forth. You don't know really, is he capable of love? Because he keeps saying how much he loves her, but then he devises these schemes to control her. And this revenge he wants on her and her family is intermixed with his genuine, as much as he can love for her. And it's just, it's crazy. So that is my check-in. I'm going to keep reading, and I will check in with you guys soon to see how it's going. This poor girl. Okay guys, just checking in again with Clarissa. It is March 10th, and I am on letter 275, I guess it is. Yeah, letter 275, page 931. And something that strikes me, I think, as interesting about this book is that for so long,
Clarissa is just not, she's not getting a break. I think when we read traditional novels and the protagonist is being tortured in some way, or there's just series after series of misfortune and events that keep happening to them, there's something that flips over where they start to have some redemption. But with this book, it's really not the case, because Robert Lovelace is just, he's intersecting every single letter from Anna Howe, her friend, that could help Clarissa. He's just getting to it every single time. And I think that's what makes this book so uncomfortable for me, is that I'm not getting that satisfaction of seeing Clarissa sort of have a one-up over him. I mean, since the main event of the book happened, or the, the build-up to the traumatizing event that happened to Clarissa, she now is sort of like, you can tell she 100% distrusts him now, and she's not giving in. And I think the strength that she has is satisfying. So within her helpless situation, she's able to keep her will, and she's able to just, prevent him from his satisfaction through all of this plotting. So that's really cool. There might not really be any other 18-year-olds out there who are being held captive by this beautiful, handsome, charming guy, but she just sees through it all. She knows she's not wooed by him. She's not wooed any longer by his words. She's just like, fuck you. She's just like, screw you. Like, I'm never going to give you the satisfaction. You're never going to win. So that's pretty cool. So even though we're being frustrated because, I just want her to get a truthful letter so she can really see the truth. It's not happening, but still, even though that's not happening, she's still just such a strong character. So yeah, really like that about this part of the book. All right, guys, checking in. It is May 24th. And I just crossed over into the 1,000 page mark here in Clarissa, and I have to say it has had such a satisfying turn of events. And now we're back to getting Clarissa's perspective, which we haven't had for a really long time. So it's really nice to hear her voice again. And I question how much I want to get into spoilers, because I don't know how many people that haven't read the book are actually going to watch this vlog, but I guess I'll save the spoilers to the end. But all I want to say is it's just like really satisfying. After 1,000 pages of kind of all of this scheming going on, there's been a change, and it's really fun to unravel that. This story is really, it's such a masterpiece when you think about all the details in it and all of the situations that Samuel Richardson created and the schemes, and it's just like an amazing book. So I'll check in again soon, but I just wanted to add that part, that it's really nice to hear Clarissa and Anna talking again, and it's just really satisfying. Hey guys, got another Clarissa update for you for the vlog, and it is July 17th today. Oh my gosh, 2024. And I'm at page 1126. I have a little over 300 pages to go. I have a plan in place to finish this before the end of the month. So I'm going to try to read about 35 pages a day. And if I do that, I should be done by the end of July. So things have turned around. Again, I don't know if I ever really wanted to make this a spoiler-filled vlog, but I will just say that events have changed, and Clarissa is able to sort of reflect about everything that's happened, and still dealing with her parents and their unwillingness to look past their just ridiculous expectations of her, and how she's disgraced their family when it's all been like a big misunderstanding. And we see Robert Lovelace kind of groveling a bit now. He does not have the upper hand anymore. And we just continue to see Clarissa's determination towards her own virtue and staying true to what she believes despite all the societal pressure around her. And Miss Anna Howe, she is one of my favorite characters. She's not afraid to open her mouth and to call people out on their actions. And then I also really like this John Belford character, who's BFFs with Robert Lovelace, and we see how different he is and how this compassion is arising with him. We're just seeing so much more of his personality now that he is directly involved and talking to Clarissa quite a bit. So
yeah, the book's going really well. Like the whole story is really interesting. It's just a very slow burn. It's like happening. The story's being told like exactly how it could have happened in a sense, like minute by minute, thought by thought. And just something interesting that popped into my mind is that when you're reading a book that is strictly in letter form, so it's all being told by letters, you know, there's still that question of, is there anything else happening that we'll just never know? Because we're relying on the characters' letters to be truth, and we don't know what they could be saying, could be false. You know, they could be making things up to hope people feel a different way about them. So, yeah, I don't know. I just enjoy the fact that we have Clarissa like knows everything that's going on now. She's not being held in the dark anymore. Everything's come to light. And she's holding tight to her virtue, and I know that's what the book is about, but it's interesting. And another thing that is interesting is that she probably could have gotten out of this situation many more times if she let go a little bit of that virtue and was a little bit more scheming and conniving, but that's just not who she is. So we also got a few more physical descriptions of her finally, which is so crazy because there's really no physical descriptions of either of them, our main characters, except just noting that they are exceptionally good looking. And yeah, and she just turned, I believe, 19 or 20. Today's her birthday in the book. So just funny when you're reading for so long and you feel like you know these characters, but there's not given a ton of details, physical details about them and the world around them. So I will check in with you guys soon once I'm a little bit further. Hey guys, so I only have about 70 pages left in Clarissa. I didn't vlog for a little while there just because I just wanted to kind of read and get done with it, but this book is amazing. There's been a lot of action in the last, like I would say, quarter of the book, which has, you know, it's still quite slow burn, but just things moved a lot quicker. And I don't really know how much I can really say if this part of it is going to be kind of spoiler free, but after I'm done, I'll do a quick wrap up and then I'll get into the spoilers. But it's so interesting how they used, what can I really say? So there's a lot of spirituality in here when it comes to it that I wasn't expecting in terms of what's happening now. And I think he's doing a great job of contrasting two of our main male characters, John Belford and Robert Lovelace. There's a big emphasis on death and how your conscience really plays a part in how easily you succumb to it. And it's just interesting to see that part of the story, which I wasn't expecting. So I think that the letters are a bit shorter now, so I'm getting through them quicker. There's a really satisfying sense of, I don't know what to say. It's satisfying. I'm in a satisfying part when most of the book has been unsatisfying in terms of what's going on and Clarissa's, everything that's happening to her. So I think that you can take what's happening two different ways. I know that there's some people that absolutely hate it. I really like it. I'll get into it more in the spoilers, but I just wanted to check in before I finish it. I should finish it this week. 70 pages left, and I'm moving pretty quickly through it now. So really, really enjoying this book so much. It's been a journey, and I'm so glad I read it. So I'll check in once I'm done with my final, immediate thoughts, and then I'll do, a little spoiler section. Okay, guys, so remember the baby from the beginning when I started this vlog? This is her now. How old are you now?
I'm 3.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so if you're still with me, I finally finished the book. It is now September 2024 that I'm filming this conclusion part, but I just wanted to say this was such an incredible book for me, more so in terms of the journey that I had with it. I took this book so many different places. I have so many memories of me reading it on different vacations, in different seasons. I read it outside in the summer, sitting in the sun, and inside watching the snowfall. I read it at night, in the morning, all times of day. Sometimes I got into really good rhythms with it. Some days I took months off. So this book is such a part of me now. These characters were with me for so long. So I think coming out of this, that is the biggest impact I have, is just feeling the presence of those characters with me for so long, and finally reaching the end of their story. It was kind of an emotional experience. And I think what stood out so strongly to me, which I probably said many times, was just the intricacy that he was able to write these characters. I felt like he really was able to make them feel so different within each different letter and different style of writing. So Clarissa had a very clear, clean, emotional way that she wrote. She was very humble. You could just, if you didn't know who was writing it, you could kind of tell who was who. Robert Lovelace had the most difficult letters for me to understand because they were the most formal and used the most old-time British language or structure of sentence that I found. So his were the hardest to decipher. He was very introspective within himself, and he really analyzed a lot of what he was thinking. Anna, she was the most emotional as far as like passionate. You could definitely tell, and her writing style was more simple than Clarissa's. So he did a great job of showing us what an amazing writer both Clarissa and Robert Lovelace were. John Belford, very similar to Anna in a more simpler but formal form. And then, of course, the parents and the family members were all getting different levels within them. And some of the servants were getting a more simple and less precise way of writing. So the writing between the different characters was really amazing. It was everything was very closed in. Like you're looking at these characters from a very little lens. You're not given a lot of description as far as the overall scenery. We really don't know what Clarissa looks like. And the end was cool because Anna kind of paints a little bit more of a physical picture of Clarissa. And it's pretty incredible to go through that many pages, having a version of her in your mind, and then finally hearing someone say, well, this is what her hair looks like. We still don't know what color her eyes were, but we know she was, whether she was tall or short, that kind of thing. So really just a brilliant book. I don't know how much more I can add to that without getting into spoilers, but I truly enjoyed the journey of reading this. It's not a book for everybody. Not everybody's going to like it. Not everybody's going to like the tragic aspects of it, the way it ended, and that part of it. But I think if you're interested in reading the 100 greatest books of all times and you want to read this one, I do recommend it. I don't think it's going to take everybody 3.5 years. Definitely will not take you that long. Maybe a couple months, but yeah, definitely give it a go. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you don't want to hear any spoilers, I'm going to say goodbye for now. And please let me know, what your thoughts were if you've read this. So now just to say a few things, spoilery in terms of what happened in the book, I just want to mention a few things. So as we know, Clarissa does not have a happy ending in the traditional sense. She finally gets away from Lovelace and she finds solace with this other family that takes her under their wing. They really care for her. She's finally getting that love and parental protection that she's been missing for so many months. So I really enjoyed that she finally kind of had a little bit more peace of mind. Now, the way she kind of starved herself, that's really what it was. She kind of starved herself. Failure to thrive, that from a medical perspective, that's kind of how she passed away. It's not like she had a huge illness. It's vague. As a nurse, like I'm trying to figure out exactly what happened, how she died. So a lot of it was psychological, grief, heartbreak, and then a lot of it was starvation. That's something she could control. So in the end, after going for so long without having control of her circumstances and without having control over what she gets to do, because she's at the mercy of the males in her life, the paternal figures, the brotherly figure, Robert Lovelace calling the shots and manipulating everything. She finally has control. She has control over how she's going to live the rest of her life. And her reputation in that time period was so destroyed by what happened to her that it felt like she was more upset over her reputation than the actual fact that she was raped. So that's very interesting. It was really interesting too to me how she leaned so heavily towards the end to her faith and kind of just giving it all up and letting go and making amends, and for so much forgiveness in the end that she had towards everybody that treated her like garbage through the whole thing. He really did a great job of portraying that virtue that we were told about so much throughout the whole book, and really showing us how a person like her sort of just let everything go, and she ended her life with such peace. So the contrast with her peaceful death, with the contrast of the other people that died through the end of the novel, and that agony they felt, and just the difference. And I know that's a huge factor, just knowing, like with hospice nursing and stuff, how people can see a difference with somebody that is not ready to let go, that someone that's upset over what they've done in life versus somebody that has made complete peace over what they had. And it was just such a great book. The last like quarter of the book really flew by for me, and I just loved the whole story. I really did. I thought it was a great book. I don't know if it was perfect or not. I'm not a professional literary critique. I have no education in literature at all. I was a science person, but for an average reader that read this book, I really, really enjoyed it. And I think if you like classic literature, you might enjoy it, but it's definitely not a book for everybody. Again, if you don't want to just see someone having a horrible time for a long time, then it was difficult to read some of those parts. You just kept wanting her life to get better. So Clarissa's painted as such a perfect chosen one throughout the book, and usually these type of characters would drive me crazy, but because she went through so much misfortune throughout the book, you can't help but feel bad for her and want things to work out. And just the kindness that she really truly has is so profound within this. And then you see Robert Lovelace, and parts it feels like he wants to be good, and his inner nature is good, but he makes an effort to be bad. So that was interesting. You know, you see glimpses of this redemption coming in and out through him. His ending was very more abrupt than I thought, but I guess it was fitting. Just brilliantly told, the way he placed the letters in the order that he did, the way he chose certain people to tell different parts of the stories. It was just, it blows my mind that someone could write a novel like this. It was so good. So that is probably going to be it for my wrap up. I have no idea how long this vlog is going to be, but hopefully it works out. You know, through all the years of making videos, I can hopefully find them all to patch together. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Again, if you'd like to join me for the next one in the greatest books of all time list, we're going to be reading Candide by Voltaire. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in my next video.